Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today I thought we'd actually see if we can sort out hard drive for the Mac Classic and get this thing buttoned up and into some kind of finished state. Now, I've got a plan to do this. What I've got, excuse me, I've got this SCSI drive. Now this is a 2 gig SCSI drive. It's a digital DEC. It came out of an old AST file server, and I did get this. I hooked it up to my Bridge PC. Actually, I've put a SCSI card in my Bridge PC. More on that later, because I've got some ideas about being able to connect a Mac hard drive and run basically a Mac emulator and perhaps be able to use that to transfer files over. One of the reasons why I want this 2 gig drive in this external enclosure that I've got at the moment, and basically I want to use that with all my Mac stuff I want to play with on that obviously won't fit on the little 40 meg hard drives that these Macs are all fitted with. I think all the Macs that I've got have only got 40 megabyte hard drives in them. And I don't have a huge amount of smaller SCSI hard drives. I think I've got some around the 10 gig mark, but the X-Server, is it the ultra-wide SCSI type? I know you can get adapters and things, but I don't mind sticking with the 40 meg hard drives in these, providing I can keep them working. But it would be handy to have like a big mass storage drive. Like I said, I can get stuff off the PC possibly onto. So I want it Mac formatted and everything. I also want to be able to boot off it if possible. The main reason being, obviously some of the much earlier Macs, like the Mac Plus and stuff, I think this originally was possibly used with like a Mac Plus or something like that. It came in a job lot of stuff I got at auction a few years ago. I have had this connected up to my LC, and the hard drive in it works. I could read it on my LC, and it does appear that it was actually set up as the main boot drive in a Mac, so I presume it was quite an early Mac, and it's actually crammed full of like useful Mac software on it. So the plan's going to be basically take the hard drive out of here, transplant that into the Classic. Hopefully I'm not going to even have to format it, because I think this has got system and everything on it, and it is actually a boot drive, because I've only ever read it as a second drive on the LC. But I think it should work as a boot drive as it is. If not, we can easily put system on it and what have you. So basically that's the plan. We take the hard drive out of here, put that in the Mac Classic, put the 2 gig drive in this box. But before I do that, what I want to try and do, I'll put the that hard drive away. I want to try and install this 2 gig drive in the Mac Classic and just see if I can. Obviously this is formatted for a PC at the moment. It had Windows 95 on it. I have just done a basic form. I did a complete format on it, and I did a scan disk on it just to make sure the drive's still in good order, and I didn't come up with any errors at all. So I think that's still a good SCSI drive. It hasn't had a huge amount of use. Alright, where are we at then? So what I'm going to try and do is put this in the Mac Classic to start off with. Format it and put system. I want to put system 6.0.8 on there if I can. I don't know whether I'm going to have to partition this thing or what to do it, but I'd like to put that on purely because some of the much earlier Macs, I think that's the latest system they can actually boot. So, and as I'm going to be using it as a drive to swap around through various different Macs, it would be handy to have that on. And for all the other Macs that have got a later system on, it's only going to be used as a secondary drive anyway. So, first thing I think we're going to have to do is get this out of this this cage that it's in. I'll have to take these rails off. Yeah, I'll take this rail off. Give it a there we are. These might actually come in useful because I think I'm very short on drive rails and mounting adapters and things like that. I used to have literally boxes and boxes of them from when I used to mess with PCs back in the day. Over the years, I think they've just got slowly thrown away. Take that one off. Yeah, I've got one on this side as well. You have to take them off because the screws you need to take the drive off the runners are behind them. Take that one off. Go up there as well. It'll certainly come in useful for another PC project, I think, because when you get cases, they always seem to be missing like runners like that. Especially when you know the Dells and the compacts and ASTs and stuff, they all seem to use proprietary mounting hardware. Get them out of the way. So we've got the hard drive. So we'll get this connected to the Mac Classic. Should hopefully just go straight in there. Slide that in. No, it's not going to go. Yeah, I'll have to sit about there, I think. I'm just going to stick a screw in just to basically hold it in place because I don't want it moving around. It's not right or proper, but this hard drive seems to be a little bit high for the Mac Classic. So I'm just putting it in like that, just literally just to hold it in place while we try it. And I'm hoping this is going to work. Also, fun, the drive cable is actually the other way around, so I'm going to have to try and twist the SCSI cable and hope. Actually, I think I've got a longer one. I did anticipate this might be an issue, so what I did, wherever I've put it, what have I done with it now? I did, there it is. I did bring a longer SCSI cable. I'll get that connected in there like that. There, that solves the problem. Because remember, this drive isn't staying in this Classic. We're just putting it in here to see if we can format it as a Mac drive and put system on it. Just take the RAM expansion out so I can see what I'm doing. Right, that's fit in. There we go, that clicked in. That's in there. Put power up to it. Of course, that's going to be tricky now. Right, we can get in. Plug the power into it. Right, so that's hooked up. We'll put the RAM back in. That's the RAM back in. Okay, we should be ready to go. So, I've got the keyboard set here. Got the mouse on my knee. It'll have to be good enough. Hopefully you can see the screen there alright. So let's give this a try. Let's plug in power it up. The hard drive's spinning up and not slowing down anyway. that clicking noise the hard drive's making seems to be normal with this drive. Stick OS 6.02 disk 1 in. Right, let's see what we can do. I've got Apple HDSC setup, shall we try that? I really do not know what I'm doing. Drive selection failed. I'm unable to locate a suitable drive connected to the SCSI port. Oh. Perhaps it's not going to work like that. Perhaps we're not going to be able to do that. That's a shame. I'll tell you what, let's just try taking the hard drive that I know works out of that external case. Put that in the Mac Classic. And we'll try and see if we can perhaps format this as a external drive. See if it'll work that way. Yeah, then we could always disable the internal drive. And if I remember correctly, there's a way you can boot into the system and then in ROM and then set the external drive as your main boot drive. I think that's how you do it. I have to look back through some of Adrian's Digital Basement's videos to see how he did it, but I've seen him boot Mac Classics from the external SCSI port, so possibly we'll do it that way. So I'm going to shut this down now. Click that. Special shutdown. Switch off. The only reason I'm switching off, by the way, at the plug over there, right, because I don't want to reach around the back of the Mac, because obviously I've got no back on it, and I might accidentally touch something that's live, so it's just safer to use the on and off switch on the wall there. Right. So let's get this one out. Let's unplug the keyboard there. We'll get that out of the way for a sec. Unplug that. Out you come. I'll tell you what, we'll unplug it from the motherboard, I think, if we can. That's proving to be rather tight. There we go, that's out from there. Let's get this drive out of the computer. I'm not sure why that didn't work, whether it's the fact that it's just too big a drive. I'd have expected it to possibly have run with a 2 gig. Pity I've not got anything, you know, in the few hundred megabytes size in SCSI. I've got plenty in IDE, but not in SCSI. This is, like I said, one of the very few smaller SCSI hard drives I've got. Anyway, let's take the one out of. Let's take the one out of this. I mean, we have got the one out of the SI, but That SI is horrifically corroded from a battery explosion. It's as bad as the other Mac Classic. But there's some sadomasochistic part in me that wants to perhaps maybe have a go at getting it running. First time I ever tried to apply power to it, the power supply went bang and emitted a cloud of smoke. So that's why I've never really done anything with it much. Okay, so what we've got is we've got a Quantum Pro drive, which I think is yes, it's exactly the same as the actual original drive that had failed in this in the Mac Classic that we're fixing here. So let's stick this in, and hopefully, fingers crossed, this should just boot. I'm pretty sure it has got system on it. This drive. And what my hope is if this does work, we may be able to get that SCSI drive, the big 2 gig SCSI drive, still working in this case. Oops. One more screw. I think this was actually like, oh, well, that goes to, where does that go to? Alright, that's like it's got an Apple. What we can do, if you notice, it's got a SCSI ID select switch on the back connected to the drive, but as we've got exactly the same drive that we was originally using in this Mac Classic, we can just basically pinch the jumper block off that and stick it on this one. So we'll pull that off there like that. And there's the other Quantum Pro drive. Oh, and it appears as it's used in the Classic, it doesn't actually have one on there, so we're good there. The other jumper is in exactly the same place. Must say that's the original one. It's definitely looking in a nicer condition. I may still have a play with this at some point. Because that's the one that just it spins up and slows down. It won't. Right, let's stick this in. Connect the SCSI cable. Move it that way around, isn't it? Yeah, we'll connect the SCSI cable. We'll slide that into the computer. Oh, they're going upside down, don't they? That's why I've just struggled. I bet some of you were screaming at your monitors then, weren't you? Saying, you stupid idiot, you've put it in upside down. Or you put it in the right way round, because Apples are silly and want them in upside down. I mean, this is going to have to all come back out again for me to secure the drive bay in properly and do some final sortings out. So we'll just bang a couple of screws in just to keep it in place while we play. That screw isn't going to be too long, is it? Let's just. No, I wouldn't like to put a longer one in than that. That's literally. I remember when I was back when I was a kid. Mate of mine coming to me nearly crying because he just bought a brand new 1.2 gig hard drive, a big Quantum Bigfoot, if you remember them things, and was putting it into his computer, messed the screw size up, put too long a screw in, and went straight into the side of the circuit board on the Bigfoot, and I think he knocked a couple of the capacitors off the circuit board. And fortunately I was able to repair it for him and solder it all back. But yeah, from then I've always been mindful of not putting the incorrect screws in when fitting hard drives. let's get that plugged in. I should really be wearing my anti-static, but I am constantly touching the metalwork, and it is plugged in, so it is grounded. Let's get that out of the way for a sec. Pull you round, plug you in. Right, so we've got the hard drive connected up. I'll just re-plug in the keyboard and mouse, and let's see if this thing is going to boot. Okay. Right, let's switch on. Oh, I haven't put the damn it! I haven't put the RAM expansion back in. I think this is probably System 6 anyway, so I don't think that's going to be. No disk drive in. Mac up. It's booting. Excellent. So we do indeed have a working Mac. I'm going to just rename that because it's not external hard drive anymore. I renamed it external hard drive. When I originally first got it to boot up, it was called Andre's hard drive. But we'll just call it hard drive. There we go. So super pleased with that. We've actually got a complete system now. We've got a working hard drive, working floppy drive, a good motherboard which has all been recapped. I've even got, they've come a brand new PRAM battery. I bought 4 of them. I'm going to treat all my classic Mac, well my LC and the Mac Classic to a brand new PRAM battery. I've got 2 spares, possibly for other Macs. If we can get some of the other Macs I've got working, they'll go with a new PRAM battery as well. Although the SI, if I ever do get the SI work, it's going to need a new battery holder at the very least. We may in some of these Mac videos, if we don't even look at getting it going, let you have a look inside that thing, because it's pretty horrific. What I'm going to do, I'm going to just quickly pause the video, and I'm going to get the 2 gig SCSI drive mounted in that external case and get it connected up to this thing, and we'll come back when I've actually got it all hooked up, and then we'll see if we can somehow find a way to get that 2 gig SCSI drive to actually format and work on the Mac, even if it is just as a external drive. Even if we can't for now get system to work on it, it'd be nice to actually get it to work as a nice big external hard drive. So yeah, I had it working the other day on a PC, and it formatted, it scanned, no problems at all. So I don't think there's anything actually wrong with the hard drive. I think it's just more an issue with the, the Mac perhaps not being able to see a hard drive that big. Perhaps it's that software I was trying. I've got some other software we can perhaps try, see if that'll see it and that'll work. So I'll be back in a second. We'll continue on with this. Right, let's get this Mac put back together. But before we can put it back together, let's put a new PRAM battery in it. So we'll disconnect the SCSI cable, and we'll disconnect. I've already disconnected the floppy cable there, and we need to disconnect the power connector in there. Out you come. There we go. Oops, and we disturbed the hard drive then. Let's get that back in its mounting hole, and then we will slide the main board out. It is a little bit stiff on this side where we painted it, but it's not too bad. You just got to be a little bit careful as you pull it out. But there we go. That's the That's the main board out, and we will put the new PRAM battery in. Let's just make sure, absolutely sure, we put it in the right way around, because I don't want to blow the board up now. So, new PRAM battery in place. That should be good for quite a few years. Let's hope to God it doesn't die on us and destroy this board, because this is a really nice board now. I said that film of oil actually it did its favour really, because we really don't have any corrosion on there at all, and now it's got nice shiny new electrolytics on there. It's really is good to go. We'll just put that out of the way for a second. We'll tilt the Mac down and we'll get the hard drive and the floppy drive screwed back into place. I think it's 4 screws for this. We've got 2 at the back here. Oops, and I'm losing my discs. Let's put my discs out of the way. 2 screws at the top here. Put the first one in and that should hold everything in place. We've got the right screw, that's the right screw. We've got a screw there. There we go, that's in. And then we've got one down here. Not that one. Screw that in. And we have got another one on this side over here. And that should be the floppy drive and hard drive trays. Fixed home. There we go. Fixed. So that's our hard drive and floppy drive back in situ. Looking nice and clean in there. In fact, it's not looking at all unpresentable, this Classic now. We'll reinstate the motherboard to make sure we get it lined up with its little runners. And push it home. So it's a little tiny bit stiff on that side, but not bad. In fact, that went in nicely. Right, let's put the power back in. Just support the board underneath. Whenever you plug in these cables in on these, it's always a good idea to put, obviously we're anti-static, but just put your hand underneath the board just to support it as you push the cables back in. If you don't do that, the board does have a tendency to really bend. Right, we'll stick the SCSI back in like that. We'll reconnect the floppy drive. Come on, in you go. There we go. That's the floppy drive reconnected. I suppose all we've got left to do is put our RAM expansion back in. We'll slot the RAM expansion back in. There we go. That's really, hardware wise and restoration wise, as far as I'm going to go internally. Obviously we're going to do a little bit of something to the external appearance, because it's full of stickers and residue and other nasty horrible things, but internally wise I think that's clean enough. It doesn't look bad at all. Obviously, like I said, we've completely sorted the main board because that's out of the other Mac. What we've ended up doing is we've ended up using the chassis and case and analog board monitor from the first Mac that I bought a few years ago, the one that had the absolutely destroyed digital board. And we've used the digital board and the I think the floppy drive from the Mac that I bought recently. And we've come out with really quite a nice tidy Mac Classic out of it. It's not actually cost me all that much, because I paid this original Mac, I think I paid under a tenner for it at auction. I bought this, the printer that it goes with, that's up in the attic somewhere, the bag it came in. I've even got, and I don't know what I've done with it now, I found it when I was looking in the attic the other day, the original Apple Classic user's manual. That came with it, and some other bits and bats that I actually got rid of at the time. I think it was the computer and a couple of old VHS video recorders or something in the lot that I bought. Which obviously they were not of no interest to me at all at the time. I think I gave them away actually. It was the Mac I bought it for. Right. That has... Sorry, I have to do this on my knee. They are a bit of a mare to get together, but there we go. I better bang a couple of screws in it just to keep it together, haven't I? In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick the bottom screws in, but I'm not going to stick the top two screws in, for the very simple reason that I can't for the life of me think what I've just done with my long star bits. I think I might have left them down in the summer house, because I was working on something down there and needed some to open something. I have a feeling I might have left them down there. I'll retrieve them and whack them last two screws in at some point. Just the lid screws there that we need a long bit to get to. But this will hold the case together anyway. There we go. That's tight. And so obviously I'm going to have to get some label remover on it, get these off. Oops, that wasn't good. It's got where there's a phone number and the school wrote on with one of them security markers. That should come off okay. Obviously we've got some a sticker residue there. Again, that should come off okay. And on the top it's got it's like one of them Letraset type label things. Again, we should be able to get that off. So this should come up really nice, nice, quiet and presentable. What I'm going to do, I will really quickly pause the video and just get this thrown in that external enclosure. You really don't need to see me just screw down the hard drive. I'll grab all my cables and what have you, and we'll get it set up with this underneath, and we'll just see if we can do something possibly with that hard drive. So back in a sec. Okay, and there we go. Obviously we've not cleaned it up yet, but that's all put together with the external hard drive all connected up. So let's see if we can give it a go. I think we'll switch the hard drive on first, then we'll switch the Mac on. And let's see what happens. I still don't know if we're going to be able to do anything with that hard. I might even try that on my LC. If we can't recognise it straight away now, we won't bother too much with that for the moment. I might have a go with it on my Mac LC, but we'll see. Oh. that's not good. Why is it asking for a disk? Let's have a look. Let's see what hard drives we can see. Have we got a conflict? That's the point I've just not thought about. I don't know what SCSI ID that hard drive set to. I wonder if I've got a SCSI ID conflict. Let's have a look. Let's look at Apple HD setup. See if this can tell us anything. Searching for SCSI drives. Drive selection failed. Unable to select a suitable drive connected to the SCSI port. Right. Now I wonder if we have got a an ID conflict then. Let's quit that. Well, the easiest way to tell that come on, quit. The easiest way to tell that is if we disconnect that external hard drive enclosure and the Mac then does boot, we know that we've got an issue with that external hard drive. And unfortunately, I'm not sure how to set the SCSI ID on it, so I have to pull the hard drive out and see if I can find some data on it. Let's just let's do a shutdown. Give us our disk back. And what I'll do is I'll turn the Mac off. We'll turn the external SCSI drive off, and I'm going to disconnect the cable. And then if the Mac boots normally and we can boot into OS, we know we've got, it's probably just going to be a conflict or something with the external hard drive, and we can play with that at a later date. Let's switch the Mac back on, and we'll see if it boots into OS now. System, as you rather would be on a Mac. Or has that hard drive just died on us? Oh no, we've got Happy Mac. There we go. Let's have a quick fertile on this Mac. I don't know where any of this software come from. I don't think there's anything on here which could be considered, you know, like personal data or anything. I think I did have a look when it was in that enclosure, when I had it connected to the LC, and I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see anything that looked personal data-y, but it's got a few applications and what have you on it, which I thought was worth keeping. Flipping applications. We've got disk copy, which I think could be handy. I'm not sure what that is. Compact Pro. Oh, I think that's a compression utility. And Stuff It, that I think also is a compression utility. I think these could be quite handy for some of that software that I've downloaded off the web. But if we go into word processing, we've got Word 5.1. So I mean, I do get a little bit of a kick at this. We've got Microsoft Word running on an Apple Mac. Let's just open some. Let's just cancel that. And you know what? If you just needed to do some word processing or something very basic like this, there's absolutely no reason whatsoever for you not to really be able to do it on a computer like this. I mean, the only thing is getting that data back off and into something modern if you want. But I could see, you know, perhaps a writer who wants to get away from the modern world still actually being able to use something like this, because I mean, there's nothing that this word processor really can't do. It's perfectly usable. My touch typing skills are really bad nowadays. I did used to be quite fast, but I suppose having it on your knee like that and not really be able to get the keyboard, I'll blame that. But you know, it is. I could see it still being usable for someone who doesn't want to get distracted by the internet. They want to lock themselves away and write. I mean, you honestly could probably still use something like this. Let's. How do we quit that now? File. Quit. No, we don't need to save changes. I love how good the graphics are on this as well. It is really lovely and crisp. Let me see if I can zoom. I mean, unfortunately, there's not a lot I can do about that flicker. I'm sorry. I did try messing about with some of the refresh rates to see if I could actually get something a bit better, but it didn't really work out. But I mean, hopefully you can actually. Let me just try turning some of the lights off, see if that's going to make a slight improvement to what you're seeing. We'll shut that one off there. That's made a bit of an improvement, have we? Like I said, unfortunately, there's absolutely nothing I can do about that flicker using the camera that I'm using there. But you get an idea how nice that screen is. Like I said, it really is quite nice and crisp. It's nice to use. I must have to say, it's just nice to use. Let's finish this off by let's stick this golf game onto my hard drive. I've not installed anything on here yet. I'm probably going to spend an hour or two now. How much space have we got? Well, we've got 21 meg available on this hard drive, so we've got enough for a few games and what have you. So let's just move that out of the way for now. And in the main thing, we've got an applications folder. Let's have a games folder, shall we? So file, new folder. Let's call that. Let's call that James. And let's grab our golf. I don't think there's anything. I think it's literally just that that file there. We'll see. Because the other thing on that disk is the system folder. That's what allows the game to actually boot off the floppy disk. Let's get rid of that. We'll drag it to the trash to get it out of the drive. I can't remember. Oh, we put Load Runner on this one the other day, didn't we? So let's do the same with that. Yeah. So what we'll do, open up games, we'll make a directory in here, new folder, and we'll call that LOAD load runner. We'll open that, and then we can go over to, no, not that one, where is it? Not that one, there we go, the load runner one, and select all them. I presume that's how you select them, I can't remember. Yeah, that's how you select them, and we can drag them. Hang on. Let's move that over there so we can get to that directory there, and we can get hold of all them that we've selected, and we can drop them in there. There we go. So we dump that out to the trash again. Oh, sorry, I don't know what happened there. It just stopped recording. Anyway, let's have a look. Let's load runner just to make sure this has worked. There we go. We've got load runner running. So I think I'm going to spend a bit of time now having a fiddle about with some of the games that I downloaded, which I've still got over on the PC, and see what I can get loaded on this hard drive and have a play with it. So hope you enjoyed that that little update on this. We'll probably do one more final video, just giving the externals of this Mac a bit of a clean, just see if we can make it as presentable as possible. But as the computer's going, I'm really pleased with how it's actually working. It's a bit of a shame we're still having some issues with that external hard drive, but I'll find some data out on the how to set the MAC address. I think that's probably the problem. I think it's probably a conflict in SCSI ID address, not MAC address. SCSI ID address. I think that's what the issue is. So I'll have a bit of a play with that, see if we can sort that out, and we'll have another bash with that external hard drive, and we'll have a go at actually cleaning the externals of the externals of the computer up, because I mean it's not bad, but we can make it just that little, you know, get the old sticker residues and some of the marks and what have you off it, and perhaps give the keyboard a bit of a tidy up. Might even have a crack inside one of these mice, because I don't think I've even given one of these a clean yet or a service, so we'll have a crack on at that. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed this little update on the project. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.